All right, maybe they'll like this.
Niggers.
What are you doing around here? Look at me when I'm talking to you.
Damn.
This police officer has been trying to follow me for 2 hours. He waited for me at Casey's for 20 minutes, bro. He's followed me to my freaking dorm. What the heck is going on? Bruh. No, you followed me for 2 hours and you sat at the light waiting on me. I have this all on video. Way back there like 2 hours ago.
No, I was down on Main Street.
And you jumped around trying to follow me. Every time I go somewhere in this town, people are trying to follow me. Every single time.
What's your right to drive where you want? I can drive where
All right, fair enough. Well, you have a nice night.
You too.
That's scary.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping up. Look how I'm living up. Police be tripping up. Yeah, this is America. Guns in my area. I got the strap.
You taking a gun to school?
Every day,
Why?
in case somebody tries.
In case somebody tries to what?
Try to fight us or something.
Mostly every teenager got a gun.
Now, tell me why. Why does a kid need a gun? Is it a status symbol? Is it cool?
No, it's care for protection. Ain't nothing cool about it. Care for protection.
Just for protection.
Yeah.
Black history facts you'll never learn in school. Part 2. If you've gone to a public school in the United States, you have at one time or another experienced free lunch or free breakfast. And for that, you have the Black Panther Party to thank. Black Panther Party had many successful social programs that helped aid the Black community. But in January of 1969, the Black Panther Party established the Free Breakfast for School Children's program in Oakland, California. This program went from feeding a handful of kids in Oakland to expanding all over the country, feeding thousands of kids per day. Not only did it improve a child's performance rate in school, but it was helping combat the negative image of the Black Panther Party in the media. The FBI did everything in their power to dismantle this program, but now parents were urging politicians to feed children before school. The government established a breakfast program in 1975, but it wouldn't be possible without the Panthers.
I mean, you knew this was coming. Don't act like you didn't know this was coming. But anyway, things you didn't learn about Black History Month, Part 1. So before the Civil War, some psychiatrists diagnosed slaves with what they called drapetomania. What drapetomania is a mental illness in which the slave has a strong desire for freedom and a tendency to try to escape. So in order to treat it, they would either cut off one foot or both feet of the slaves in order to prevent them from escaping, because then it would rid them of this irrational desire. However, because they were cutting off the feet of the slaves, they now no longer had resale value. And because of this, it would cause the slaves to lose all of their value to the slave owners, and they were killed immediately after, every single time.
No, the original design for the Statue of Liberty was a black female. As a matter of fact, in a museum in New York, you can see the original design of the Statue of Liberty, which is a black woman. When the French artist created the Statue of Liberty, it was supposed to represent the end of slavery. On the original model, there were chains on the hands and feet, as we know. When the statue got to America, they wanted to erase any references to slavery from the statue, but the artist really fought to keep the chains on there because this is your art. You don't want people tampering with your art. And if you look, the chain is still on the foot of the Statue of Liberty to this day.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. What is this episode number? I see a lot of people count down the episodes. We have no idea what episode we're on. We at one. No, it's been a year, right? So episode, who knows?
Yeah.
In the 50s.
In the 50s.
Really?
Probably.
Okay.
All right, thanks everyone for joining us today on the show. We have a very, very exciting topic, as always. Very fun. Very fun. We have 5 black comics, but our topics are very dark. One day we're gonna do some comedy. One day.
5 dark comics.
Right. No pun intended.
I know. We try so hard to be upbeat. We try so hard, but at heart, we are still human beings, and we still see things being done to people that look like us. So it's really hard to get on here and be upbeat and have fun. I mean, if you came to our show, this is not. If you came to see my show or Kevin's show, Tanya or Desi or Preach, this is not. You're not gonna get dark. You would have fun, happy, zippity doo dah, comics. So we were talking about why is America so violent? What the history of violence in America? I'm not sure. I didn't do the research on it, so I don't know if America can be considered to be the most violent country in the world. I don't know if our violence take the #1 spot. From watching the news, I've seen some really bad stuff in the Middle East, but as far as the other countries are concerned, I don't know where does America rate as far as violence goes. So that's going to be on our topic today. And I was having a discussion with Tanya and Preach earlier this week. We had a little meeting, and I noticed that in the black neighborhoods in the summertime, the gun violence always goes up. There's always, every year, summertime, the shooting starts, you know what I mean? Tanya has a theory as to why that is. I don't have an answer for it. I just know it is what it is. Every year, summertime, the shooting starts. It has something to do with the heat that itches the trigger finger. I'm not exactly sure. But Preach, today I'm going to start with you. There's violence on both sides. I didn't pick you because you are the most violent. I just picked you because.
Oh, I'm violent. Oh, I'm violent now. You're lucky we on this chat thing. If we was face to face, you wouldn't be saying that.
But there's violence from both. I guess you could say both groups. I mean, in the black neighborhood, and there was another mass shooting today. And 99.99% of the time, if there's a mass shooting, we know there's a white man behind that gun. So what's going on there? So what's going on? What's with all the violence? Why does America have more guns than people? I think the statistics show that America has 3 guns for every 1 person, and we have 300 million people in America. That's a lot of guns.
It is a lot of guns, and I don't have mine. Who's got mine? Somebody else has mine, because I don't have any right now.
So what's with all the violence? Why do you think? And there seems to be a difference when black people, there's any act of violence, in my opinion, from what I see, it seems like you have to do something to us for us to react, right? We don't just get up one morning and go, you know what? I'm going to go down to the supermarket and take out the dairy aisle. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna go out just the street and start shooting people wearing green shirts. Right? You have to do a black person. You have to do something to us for us to start shooting. I mean, mind you, we might shoot into a crowd to get one person, but there's a
lot of that lately.
Yes. So preach. Start us off, brother.
Yeah, America has a violent history from its inception. From you go back to Columbus, when Columbus before America was America, it already started. When Columbus landed in, when they talk about Columbus in 1492, he didn't actually land on America. This is another misnomer that they give them. They say Columbus discovered America. He was in the West Indies somewhere. And then him and the Spanish troops that he was leading started to commit genocide against the Arawak Indians. Okay, they don't tell you that in the history books. They say Columbus is a hero because he discovered America. Not necessarily true. Then when they settling in Virginia and they went over on the Mayflower and those people, there was Virginia, there was Massachusetts with the Mayflower. England decided, hey, this is a nice dumping ground for some of our worst citizens. So all the dregs of society that they were sending to jail in Australia, which was a little, a spot that they used, they were basically anywhere but here you can go. So they started sending them to America. So the people that had, violent crimes got sent here to work, figuring, hey, if you die because of the harsh winters or the Indians or whatever, we're not really losing much. So those are the people that founded this country. Yeah, you had a few founding fathers, but if you look at the laws that were written back then, only rich white men who were landowners could vote. So those were the only one that had a say. So everybody else, which were most of their dregs of society, the criminals and people that were sent over here, the people that came over here on, that were slaves, the people that were indentured servitude, which is like slaves, but at least you have a number, like an end number. Those were the people that founded America. And if you look at today's society, what are the things that are most popular? Video games that are violent. People talk about GTA all the time, Fortnite. Those are violent games. Yes. They got kids playing them. Mostly because the parents don't monitor it. Mostly because a lot of the parents are having kids so young, they're like, hey, let me get on this game with you. They're playing the games with the kids. I've seen it. Okay? They have movies that are violent. What are the best grossing movies? The violent ones. Those are the ones that make the most money. So how can they not say this is a violent society?
How come it doesn't affect everybody? I'm going to come to you next, Desi. How come it doesn't affect everybody? If what you're saying is that the movies and the video games, I mean, there are kids who play video games and they don't have they don't go out and do violent stuff. Desi, I'll let you take that one. I mean, how come the violence that we see does not affect everybody?
Because it's just like anything else, where each experience has a different effect on the individual depending on how they process it. And so some people, when they see violence, they go, ooh, oh, gross. Some people are like, yeah, do more. So and that goes back to the individual. There's a lot of factors, how you were raised, your family background, but Preach, you really picked up on a good subject and a way to approach it. I wanted to go back even further than that. If we look back at what is called the Caucasian, they are considered to be, and this is from John Henrik Clarke.
Did you say what is called the Caucasian?
Caucasian. The people who come from the Caucasus Mountains.
That's the way you said it. If you look at what is called the Caucasian, like what you were talking
He's being
about.
scientific. He's giving the scientific answer. That's all.
Okay.
Right. Well, because people call themselves certain things that don't like to be called other things, so I'm being respectful of the people.
I was just being silly because the reason I said that in the there's a video out, How to Sell to the Negro, is made back in the 50s. How to Sell to the Negro. And in the video, the one of the quotes that I picked up on was the guy said, the Negro has good credit. It likes to shop just like
Yeah.
he said it just likes to shop as white people do. So go ahead.
Well, one of the things we got to do is we got to look at two sides. Number one, there is social, economic, sociology, like social science on how people react and are violent. But there's also chemistry, like if you look at the makeup of people and how they were developed. If you think about the current, I'm going to wrap this all up, but if you look at the current Black athlete who is considered dominant in so many sports, and if you trace back, it's because they had a lineage of manual work that translated into gaining more and more physical expertise. And so our environment shaped our experience. A quick example is Deion Sanders, considered one of the best, the fastest running backs, fastest back ever. He lived near a cemetery and he was scared to death of the cemetery. So every day when he would walk by his cemetery near his house, he would sprint as fast as he could. So he started that at like 5-6 years old. His whole life he would sprint by a cemetery. So then he had the physical gift to be able to sprint faster than anybody else, and it's because of his experience. Well, we have to look back. There's a good book. This one is called The Iceman Inheritance. It's written by Michael Bradley, but the prelogue is written by John Henry Clark. And if you get a chance, study him. But he'll tell you that like what happened was the Africans went to traveled out of Africa. They got caught behind an ice age for about 1.5 million years. And they started to emerge from the Caucasus Mountains. And that's why they got the name Caucasian. But during this ice age, they had a selenium deficiency, they had a zinc deficiency, and a phosphorus deficiency. All these deficiencies led to irritability, which is low selenium, aggression and violence, and lack of melanin, so we're talking about Africans still, but were cut off from the sun for so long that their melanin didn't function the way that the normal Africans did. So we see that because of that, and then if you look at socially, there was a reward for being aggressive. And they used to have an expression, you don't hunt yourself, you let your neighbor hunt, and then you kill your neighbor and get his food. And so we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of years of a culture that is violent by nature. And if you contrast that with the African, where most of the things that we needed, we didn't have to fight for, it already was there. Like fruits grew on trees. And the reason why we were able to advance so much is we learned how to use grains so we could feed a dense population in a dense area. You didn't need all this farmland. When people congregate together, they naturally get more and more smarter because they can pass down information. They don't have to hunt for food. They can pass information. And so if you look at all the advances, the world is still living off the advances that the Egyptians made in Egypt. And that was where they were all congregated on the Nile River. So I'm trying to go full circle. I'm doing it quick because this is a whole story. But the people who have benefited from being aggressive have not done well against the people who just live a regular life and is not as aggressive. So when you're looking at what's going on, this is thousands of years of social science and lack of vitamins that has led to the aggressive culture that we have. And it's even glorified in movies and everything else. We always talk about that picture. It's a hanging of a African-American, and there's a little girl with almost a smile on her face for the picture. And we were like, if that was a dog, they'd be crying. But since it's a human being, this person seems to be detached. So just to wrap it up, we're looking at a whole different.
I'm sorry. I just have to say black human being. You said if it was it's a human being hanging. It's a black human being hanging. See, that's why they're not crying. Yeah. If it was just a human being, if it was a white human they'd be sorrowful. See, if it was someone else, they'd be sorrowful. But it's a black human being. That's why they're not showing emotion.
Right. It's because the whole culture has been trained. Like I grew up in a white school. I was one of the only black kids in class. And when we had free time, we would sit around telling campfire stories about how bad black people were. And this was before I realized that they were really talking about me. So I would sit there and listen to all the stories like, whoa, and they used the N-word, and we didn't use that in my house. So I didn't know who they were talking about. And eventually, like one day, I was like the third grade, I was like, a light went off, like, you're talking about my people. So anyway, but so they pass down a cultural experience. It's always to dehumanize and dominate, because their fear is that if they don't, then they'll be extinct.
Yeah. Kev, I remember back in the day when we would party and you would step on someone's foot and you would just keep dancing, right? You would just nod, you're dancing, remember? And you would just nod. Today, you step on somebody's foot at the club, right?
Yeah, man. Them Jordans don't cost $400 these days.
It's so what happened? What I'm like, what changed? What happened between the 70s and 2021? Why it seems like black people become I watched an episode of Soul Train the other day, and how happy those people were dancing and having a great time. We seem to lost that, like that togetherness.
I think Carl, that it has a lot to do with everything now has been put in your face, things you can't have. We live in a microwave society now, where you want everything instant. People want, you get instant oatmeal now. You can't even wait 3 minutes for oatmeal in a pot. You got to get it in 90 seconds now, I mean, like oatmeal's the quickest thing you can cook anyway, right? But yeah, you gotta get instant oatmeal. Like regular oatmeal ain't long. That's 3.5 minutes. I don't have 3.5 minutes. I want it in 60 seconds. So I just think, man, we live in a society now where everything has to be instant gratification, man. Nobody wants to wait for anything. Nobody wants to work for anything. And what I'm getting at is music videos, has glorified a lifestyle that most people can never have. And I think that drives people crazy. You just realize you work a 9-to-5 job, you drive a regular car that, you bought, you're proud of it, that you got your Honda Civic, Now you got to watch somebody on a video with jewelry and fine girls and the cars and all this stuff. And you think the only way I can't get that, putting boxes on the back of the truck at Walmart,
Yeah.
So I think that has something to do with it. I think we're getting angrier and angrier because more and more things are being put in our face that we can't have. I mean, normal society can't have. When I was a kid, they didn't have $200 sneakers, I mean, $300 sneakers, $400 sneakers. It was unheard of when we were kids to have sneakers that cost that much. Now, yeah, you're right. You step on somebody's Jordans now, you got to fight because them Jordans cost a lot of money, I think we're just putting too much money into materialistic things. I mean, too much thought into materialistic things. That makes people angry. I think cable, and I also believe definitely the social media is the devil. I mean, it has ruined us as a society, man. Facebook started off as, oh, man, I can touch base with somebody I went to school with, when I was in, 5th grade. Now we're adults and now we're Facebook friends, It started off like that, and now you can't get through social media without fussing about, Trump or what a bad vice president we have now and all this stuff, I mean, so it's just nonstop, man. Just so much anger and hate with us, man. And I think that the cable, I think the videos, glorifying luxury. But other than that, man, I just think we don't like each other. I think humans suck, man. I think just think about the road rage now. I mean, you can't blow your horn at somebody now that cuts you off, and you might be on your way to the morgue.
Yeah.
I had a guy give me it was a girl actually give me the finger a couple of weeks ago, because she gave me the finger outside of her window, and I just said to myself, "You're lucky it's me."
Right.
Because you could be dead for that with the wrong person. That
True.
quick, blowing your horn at somebody, you can lose your life, man. I mean, we are so, our humanity is gone, bro. I mean, I don't even know how it's gonna come back, Carl. I mean, it's gone, man. I mean, we are so far gone as far as showing love for each other. I had little scruffle. I get in my scruffles on Facebook every day, man, because I enjoy it. I enjoyed debating with these people, man. And I'm debating with a white lady, of course, who seems to think that, this administration is dropping the ball on the illegal aliens, as she put it, coming over here, and they're coming over to take everything, And I was like, is that the worst thing you got to worry about every day? I mean, is that really what keeps you awake at night? Like, I walk in Walmart and I'm like this, I'm looking over my shoulder to make sure some 17-year-old white kid is not walking into Walmart on a 90-degree day with a trench coat on and pulls out a rifle, right, and blow everybody away. That's your biggest worry, is somebody coming over here that's going to end up picking fruit that your ass is going to eat from the supermarket, because that's what they're going to do most likely.
Yeah, I was just about to say, they're not coming over here to be the executive manager or or be CEO or
that was her biggest worry, man. And I'm thinking, first of all, a lot of these people are, look, some are going to be criminals. Let's face it, some will be criminals.
Yeah.
But we're criminal. People born here are criminals. We're in prison more people in the United States than anywhere in civilized country in the world, right?
Yep.
And that's mostly people that's born here.
Yeah.
All the mass shootings
are
not from illegal aliens. The mass shootings are from people that were born here.
Yep.
The
Good old
serial killers are people that were born here.
Yep.
Mass shooters, people that are born here. Timothy McVeigh blew up a fucking building. He's born here.
The babies,
So we are our own worst enemy. We are the most. You know what? I'm gonna say it, man. I don't care. We are the most violent. We have the nerve to police other places.
Yeah.
We have the nerve to send our military to other countries to police them. We are the most violent people. I don't know anybody more violent. We've had. Let me show you something real quickly. I got my notes here real quick. I'm gonna wrap this up. We have over 508 shootings in New York since May 9th. Since May 9th, 500 shootings in New York since May 9th. Some include kids. We just had a 10-year-old kid shot in New York,
somebody shot up a party and that kid got hit.
Yeah, a kid got hit. Where do you get to the point where you just, you start firing into crowds and not even care? It's our government's fault too. Because when do you say to yourself as a human being, when do you draw the line, Carl? When do you say, okay, all right, adults are killing each other, okay, but now we're killing kids. All right, we got to draw the line. Kids are getting shot in these shootings, these shootings out at these houses and all this stuff going on. People firing into crowds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You would think Sandy Hook would have been the last straw, right?
And what I don't understand is why are they fighting against laws like background checks or a waiting period to buy a gun? You know what I mean? Why do you need a gun right now? You know what I mean? Why do I need to go in? I need a gun now. Hurry up! I need a gun. Give me some bullets. I need right now.
Because Mr. Walker kind of was going down the rabbit hole of they don't want to get rid of guns because that's their security blanket. That's their security blanket. Guns is the white man's security blanket. Because for some reason they think without those guns, black people are going to do to them what they did to us.
Right.
Which is so untrue because it's not in our DNA.
Yeah.
If it was, we would already probably have tried to do it,
Exactly.
There's no history of us
putting
together groups to go after white people. It has, it's been a few incidents, but there's no major history of black people plotting to take over white people and enslave them and get revenge. It's not in our DNA. We're not that type of people.
Nope.
Go ahead, Tanya.
I was just going to say something to Kevin that do you know right now in West Virginia, they're offering free guns as an incentive to get the COVID vaccine? Just saying. That's how much we think about guns. Like, you know, like you can get out of jail quicker and I'll give you $1 million if you take this. So nobody cares about that. Like they don't. I just honestly believe that this society is violent, and it goes way back. I mean, way back. And you talked about some of it, Des. But even when I think about the Romans, and I think about, remember they used to do like the gladiator fights. Everybody in the town would sit and meet in the amphitheater, and they'd watch them rip each other to shreds. Like that was just a thing. Like that was a thing, and we forget that. And then there was cowboys and Indians or whatever they want to call it back in the day. They have improper meant. But
I'm gonna cut you off, Tanya. We still have that. We still have the Roman fight. It's called UFC now.
Exactly.
Okay.
True.
I'm just saying, if you like, nothing shocks me here because I always, when I look at I can't watch Gladiator and all those movies, like all those shows. I can't watch that because to me, it's making you insensitive. So that when you really see murder and death and trauma, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, she was hung by a tree. I mean, they used to go have picnics, which I heard that's where the word picnic comes from. Pick-a-nigger. That's what they were doing. Go have a picnic while you hang somebody and everybody has lunch. Who does that? I'm just saying, you'd sit there and you have your nice little lunch and your tea, whatever. You had not tea, but you have your nice little lunch and you're watching someone hang as a town. Like, what's up with that? I know an older man who told me he was horrified when he had to watch at 6 years old. They were like, oh, everybody in town had to go, and you had to go. I don't know why. I was like, what, they putting the guns to your head? He's like, I don't know. I was a kid, but all I know is I had to go. And it was to watch a black man get hung. And he said, I will never forget that in my entire life. So, like, you know, he's a Quaker now, but it traumatized him. But I'm just saying that's the kind of history that this country has. So I'm never shocked. What I am shocked at is that we just still don't get the part about, okay, there are some people, I believe, who are born with kindness in their hearts. I don't know how to explain that. They can't explain it. There's some people like 3 years old who'll be like, here, you want my lollipop? Or, you know, who just do the right thing always and just have a thing in their heart to just help people or be a people person. Then there are people who I believe were born like violent and just like I don't know if there's something in the womb that happens or in vitro. I don't know where there's trauma. Maybe the mother had trauma while they were in the womb. I have no clue. But there's some people that just, no matter what you do, they're just going to be evil. And I don't know why. I can't explain it. But I can say this. The disassociation, I think Donna down there said something about this. You know, we've disassociated the violence so badly that we will actually watch on TV. I think Floyd was the first time that we actually was like, no, we can't watch this. Oh no. But everything else, like, there was a shooting today and a 2-year-old girl got shot. And there was a 2-year shooting today and a 6-year-old got shot. The old lady got beat up by 20 men. That's become the response. And it's not intentional. It's just that we see it so much now that we're programmed in our head. And then we got video games that reward us for violence. I mean, look at what's the name of that game where if you hit somebody, like you literally go up and punch them out. This is a big thing amongst the young people. Like,
yeah, GTA.
Okay,
Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, is that the one too? If they get paid more, if it's a prostitute, if it's somebody black or baby. Yes. Okay, yeah. And I'm like, this is a game that everybody says is popular, and I can't believe people actually buy this for their kids. So, what do you expect from? Like, you know, as far as like the shootings in Chicago and the inner cities, as they say, what do you really expect from people? And any you know, there's two types of violence. Well, violence is violence. There's two types of mental things going on. One is you're a group who by whatever reason, you know, to me, if you can pull a trigger and kill somebody innocently, then that's just you. That's your true nature. There's nothing that would have made you do it or not do it. Whether you're a gang member, gang member, you're violent, and that's what you do. So there are people who I believe that just cannot help themselves. Then there are groups of people who have mental illness, and this part is the most important part for all of them, is that nobody is remembering the nucleus family anymore. Like that's really, if you was to break it all down, like all the shooters, everyone, whether in the hood, whether it's the small shooters, whether it's the guy who chopped up his wife and his kid, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. I guarantee you, if you go back to their childhood at some point, somebody could have saw these signs, but everyone ignored them. The family, and most importantly, your mom and dad is everything. And people don't get this. I was a foster kid, but I'm glad I still have foster parents that have values and taught me values. You cannot get me to go up and pop up somebody in the head. Like, I don't care what you say about them, unless I saw someone right now come in and try to massacre my friends here and I had a way to stop it. That'd be the only way you'd ever hear about me ever participating in anything about it. Just because my mother raised me, and this is my foster mother, by the way, raised me, that under no circumstances do you allow yourself to violently hit another human being unless you absolutely had to protect yourself, like someone's slaughtering me. You know what I'm saying? So I have this value in me that I couldn't do it. I could not. And I've been in a predicament when I was younger and when I was a knucklehead where I had access to do mean things to someone that did something mean to me. But you know what I did? I didn't do it. You know why? Because I just couldn't. I couldn't, like, even if someone literally, and I've had people who hurt me and abused me, and I could have easily gotten revenge. No problem. I mean, really got revenge. But you know why? I couldn't do it because something in me, and I believe it's my values, and I think everybody's lost their darn values. There is none. There's nobody at home. The TV's saying, look, Black people do this. That's all they tell you about us is we're criminals, we're robbers, but yet the shooter's are always somebody else. So I don't understand that part. I mean, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't even watch TV at this point. But everything is about values. If we don't have values, we'll do anything. I'll walk into a mall because I feel it's another form of privilege. You know, the white shooters may feel like I can't have my 401k, so I'm just going to ruin the whole world and I'm going to bring my family with me. Then you have the shooters in, like, say, you know, in an inner city area who's like, well, fuck it, I can get a job, I can't get this, I can't get that, so I don't care about nothing. So you got two different things going on, but it still comes back to family values and what, you know, having respect, but you can't get it if you don't have the family values, in my opinion. And nobody's checking on none of the kids. I've seen things that I'm like, well, I'm surprised you turned out this good. How did you turn out? You basically raised yourself. Yeah. Like, there's no mom and dad at home. There's no grandma no more, no grandpa, no uncle to check you. Nobody's checking nobody. And none of the families, by the way, black, white, rich, or poor, nobody's checking no one, and no one's keeping track of the mental, which is what's going on. So that's just my theory.
Yeah. You know what I find? Go ahead.
I would say, but something happens along the way also. I mean, I understand what Tanya's saying about family values and stuff, but when you're an adult, somehow you still have to have responsibilities. I mean, when did Jeffrey Dahmer snap? You know, was it because his parents were bad?
9 years old.
You know, when did Ted Bundy snap? You know,
about 9 years old.
He was actually successful, right? I mean, he was
they're lying. That's
he was a doctor of some sort, right? He was a successful person, right?
Lying. They're lying.
I'm just asking. I mean, people still snap when they, you know, when did, you know, the DC sniper lose his freaking mind? You know, and, you know, somewhere along the line he snapped and lost his mind, right? So people, you know, no matter what type of homes they come from or religions they have, you know, this is probably, I don't know if this, and it's not even a race thing because everybody's angry right now and everybody's fighting each other and you know, I mean, some of it is, I mean, what we saw on January 6th, of course, is probably fueled by racial hatred. I'm sure 100% that was, you know.
Yeah. Privilege and racial hatred.
Yes, exactly.
And fear.
Right.
And fear.
Yeah. So, I mean, but yeah.
Let us consider too. I want to ask the whole panel, the wolf pack mentality. Like, what happens is, I'm a pretty good person. I do the right thing, but when I'm with my friends, we get crazy and we start doing things that are not necessarily what I would do myself. Do you see American society as a country, specifically January 6th, a wolf pack mentality took over and made them do the things that they did?
Wolf pack and entitlement.
I think part of it is.
Yeah, and that's not Wolfpack to me, I thought you were gonna go to like the young kids going up and at some point there was kids going up and punching people out like for gang initiation stuff. That's when I think of Wolfpack. But I see what you're saying is that the people on the Capitol, do we think that they all convinced each other? I think that's privilege, again, fear, and just stupidity, just straight stupidity. They really thought they can go up, take over because I got that privilege and I know my rights, right? And just take things and you see the guy with the law book trying to change the law. Now, how dumb can you be that he thinks that he can just go up because he's got 4,000 people with him and change the law just because they're all there and they're going to take over this place? Like that's, even if you were taken over, there's still a procedure. Last I checked, there's still some type of procedure. It may not be the one I want, but there was a procedure. So they were not very bright people, in my opinion. But
let me read a couple comments before we move on. Okay, Anthony Wilder says it doesn't affect everyone because of the home. I guess he's talking about playing video games. I play those games sometimes, but my family was very clear in telling me what is real and what is not, and making the distinction early in life. Donna Haygood said people have become desensitized to violence, and we have become desensitized. Like if a fight breaks out or anything violent, what's the first thing? Pull out the phone, right? We start recording.
Yeah,
right.
Have we always been this way though? Is this new? I mean, because we got cell phones now, and we have YouTube. I mean, we've always been this way. Is what I'm saying. I don't think. Yeah, right. I don't think human nature has changed. I think we've always been, like Tanya said, they had people come to stadiums and watch people beat each other to death. Now it's a sport, mixed martial arts sport, that's not new either. They were doing bare knuckle fights and things like that over in other countries underground for years,
Yeah.
And,
think about the after school fight. When you see a large crowd running, like a mob running, you go, oh, a fight. You knew there was a fight that they were running to go see.
I was running the other way.
And the thing though, too, is cell phones kind of show us who we really are as a society, because if we were this all-loving society, when something like that would happen, the last thing we would think would be to record it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. You'd be calling the police. Oh, well, not the police. I wouldn't. But you know what I'm saying. You'd be calling somebody to get help. I'm just saying.
You call the police, they come shoot you.
Exactly.
Some of the number one watch videos on TikTok are videos of lions and tigers and alligators eating their prey.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll watch a video of an alligator taking a deer down and chewing them up over and over again on TikTok. Yeah. Then you read the comments, and people are saying some of the weirdest things, like, well, they feel sorry for the fawn or the deer or whatever. Then people are going, well, it's human nature. I mean, it's animal nature. The animal has to eat, So, but yeah, we watch those videos. I watch them. I watch lions chase stuff and chase them down and get them. It's hard to watch, but you do watch it. You're like, what is? This lion got to eat. And he has to chase this animal and catch him and kill him. We can just go to the supermarket and get our steak. Lions can't do that, right?
True. It's true. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying we're prone to watching violence. Tonight I'll be watching the UFC, the most violent sport on the planet right now. I mean,
is it?
Of course it is. I mean, there's nothing more violent. I mean, UFC makes boxing look like freaking. It's just the most violent sport there is. I mean, it's men in the cage, mixed martial arts, and they're going at it. Highly skilled fighters fighting each other, and there's blood, and there's all.
I remember watching.
There's a movie there called Ground and Pound.
Yeah, exactly. What you say, Daz?
I remember watching the UFC for the first time with my uncles. I was used to it. They weren't. They were used to boxing. And when they saw a guy kick a guy in the leg and like knock him down on the ground, they were like, "Whoa!" They were freaking out. What is he doing? So,
we grew up watching. When I was a kid, we used to go to the movie theater every Saturday and watch the martial art movies, you know, and then they start putting them on television where the guys are flying through the air and, and doing all the kicks and stuff, and the Bruce Lee movies. I got Bruce Lee on my shirt right here. That's my hero. So, you know, all the Bruce Lee stuff we watched. And you know, you look at that stuff now, when we were kids, it's pretty violent watching Bruce Lee beat up 30 people at one time with nunchucks. And you watch it now and you be like, I watched that when I was a kid, you know, because you can see how fake it is, you know. But it didn't make us violent. I knew no matter what, I could never be Bruce Lee and beat up 30 people, you know. But when you watch Schwarzenegger come out and or Stallone or any of these people come out and shoot up all these people and stuff in these movies, that's a reality that we can, you know, we can achieve that. You know, you can't be Bruce Lee, but you can be the guy that shoot up all the people in a movie, you know, because guns are everywhere. You know,
it has gotten worse over the years, though. When I talked about, you know, you go to a club and you're dancing. I remember back in the disco days with Chic and, you know what I mean, and all the fun music, and you bump into people, you spill drinks, you step on somebody's foot, you get bump push. You know what I mean? And there was never no fights broke out. Nobody wanted to fight. Nobody said, see you outside, meet you outside after the club. But now it's like my son would go to a club and then he would call me and say, Dad, I had to leave because somebody pulled out a gun or somebody did. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just progressively getting more and more, you know, more violent. It just seems to be, people are more angry and it seems to come out a lot faster. Like Kevin was talking about driving. Yesterday I'm driving. I was supposed to be in the right lane to go straight. I ended up in the left lane. I was in the area I wasn't familiar with. So I still drove and made my way over. I didn't cut anyone off, just drove, you know, but the guy behind me got so pissed. He just started beeping at me. He was right on my ass, and then he was trying to pass, even though there's nowhere to pass. I had to let him go. I just had to let him go, and I didn't look at him. I just put my hands like this and just kept driving. But
glad you did that. Glad you did.
Yeah,
before
that's when you talk about the club. My nephew got him and his friend got into a fight and then stabbed in the club. You know, however the fight started, and there was like 8 versus 2, and you know both of them were former military, so they were winning the 2, and the 8 got mad and started stabbing them.
But why? But why are we get like Kevin brought up this topic for the show? Why are we getting so violent? Like, what's happening? Like, I mean, like, what's going on in people's head? What, you know what I mean? People are maybe upset, like Kevin said, because they see the have and the have-nots, and the have-nots are pissed off because the haves seems like they're having so much fun. You know,
you just made my point, Carl. You just made my point, brother. You just said what's going on. And Marvin Gaye made that song when? What year was it? Anybody know?
The 60s.
70.
Early 70s, I believe. That's going on.
What's going on?
And he made that record to say the same thing that we're discussing today. So nothing's changed. We are some violent fucks.
Yeah, if we reverse
it's
the whole
always
thing,
been that way, bro. Marvin Gaye made a song about. I was watching this documentary on watching this documentary on YouTube, not on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Netflix on Bobby Kennedy, and I'm watching it and I'm going, oh my God, this is the same shit that's happening now, and this is 1967. It was like you could took out Bobby Kennedy and put one of us in as an actor, it'd be the same thing because Bobby Kennedy's gone now. But it's the same crap. Nothing's changed, Carl. We're still going through the same crap. It's just full circle. The difference now is we have CNN, we have 24-hour news, we have cell phone and YouTube and all this stuff and TikTok and all this stuff now to just magnify what we see but I just think it's always been this way. I think we've always been violent. I think, back in the day, we'd go to a club, you know, in the hood, and very rarely fights broke out. They did every once in a while in my neighborhood, but it was a rarity. Most guys went to the club to find a girl. You know, that was our focus, man. It was going getting hooked up with our gear and going to a club looking for a girl. You know, and if somebody started a fight, that broke up everything. Nobody getting no girls. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's think about 71, by the way. I just want to make 71, Marvin Gaye, 50 years ago.
Let's
half a
think about
century
this too,
still
though.
going on.
The time that we didn't have that was right after 9/11, where now we had an outside enemy. It was obvious who it was. So you
Yes.
could walk down the street, you would see somebody black, somebody white. As long as they were American, you would nod to them. You'd open the door for them. You were very peaceful towards the people you knew. I
Yes.
think the American society has designated the black people as the outside enemy to unite everybody else. So we have to consider that. That's why we're so targeted, because if we are the designated boogeyman, then they can unite and be more peaceful. It doesn't always work out that way, but like just like the 9/11, I think that the people who engineer society specifically make the black man the boogeyman so that everyone else can be cohesive.
Hey, Des, I think they are the boogeyman now, though, because I think that's why they're so angry right now, because the boogeyman thing is actually leaving us and going over to them, because we saw what happened on January 6th. We see the mass shootings happen at a lot, white. And so the balance side today so many years of themselves, right? You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
No. But that's
they
Kim broke out on
you,
us.
man. You can no longer make O.J. Simpson the worst person walking the planet anymore. Because we've seen so much crap from the other side now that he's not even relevant for his alleged crime anymore, because of what you guys are doing on a regular basis, shooting up high schools and elementary schools and shopping centers and beating police with flags and all sorts of other crap, insurrections and all this major crime, and you're gonna cry about OJ, so they're now the boogeyman, and I think that's why they're so angry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Tanya.
Des, you touched on it. Thank you for that. I'm glad you mentioned that. That I noticed that, we did go back to a time where it was just a minute where it was like, oh, you can hear a pin drop on the piece. It was like, whoa, after September 11th, right? It was great. And then something happened. I don't know if somebody was not liking it too much, so they had to change the narrative. I don't know what happened, but it did change, and it's a big difference. But I will say this too. I noticed crime went up again as soon as George Floyd got murdered, and as soon as the word defund police came out, all of a sudden murders quadrupled everywhere. Now, I can't, I'm only speculating in my personal, as a parent opinion, that something's wrong with the picture. Like all of a sudden, I cannot believe that just because after Floyd died, that all of a sudden that murders all over went quadruple as soon as you said the word defund. Because I checked it out. I was looking on the media saying before the word defund came up, how was crime? It was, here and there. It was good here and there. Same thing, different day. But as soon as that word was talked about, when the union was out there talking about, what do you mean defund the police? You need the police. Oh, yeah. Well, one day we're not going to be there for you, blah, blah, blah. I remember the whole thing. I don't know. Go back and look at tapes of when this whole thing started. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, 300 murders this week, 200, 500 this week. And there's some places, yes, like Louisiana and DC are the capital murders of the world. I will say that. Chicago has shootings on a regular basis, but that's another issue and another show to talk about of what I think is why nobody's doing nothing about it. Because, I'm saying if you get a healthy kidney, well, why not? This is just my personal opinion, but that's another show. But as in my opinion, from what I've gathered and what I've watched, and I said, let me look at media from before George Floyd. Let me see what the crime rate was, what was going on, and how was things going. In my opinion, it went out of nowhere. It went left out of nowhere. As soon as the word defund got serious, and people were like, "Wait a minute! Oh yeah, we got to defund. Let's change how the money structure goes. Let's change." So now, guess what? I do need more crime in order to make that not happen. So to me, that's just. I'm not saying people are not shooting. They are shooting. People are dying. This is real. But I'm saying we need to be looking at with a fine little magnet, looking at Why are all these young kids out here all of a sudden just popping off, like killing little innocent babies, and just like they don't know how to shoot a gun? Like, what happened? Like, what all of a sudden now? You know how many years gangs have been in effect, and all of a sudden now they're all dumb and they don't know how to shoot anybody, and they don't know how to target the right person they were supposed to be targeting. It's some little innocent baby. All of a sudden, just random. I suspect, and it's only suspect, that there's more sinister stuff going on. Just like there are Proud Boy police, there are also dirty, dirty, dirty police who will tell you, well, now it's time to pay me back. And this is how you're going to do it. So I just believe that. That's my personal opinion. It has none of you guys. I don't, I'm taking responsibility for that myself. But I'm suspecting, as someone who used to work with members, I'm just saying, I think there's more to the story than meets the eye, but only time will tell. Only time will tell.
Tanya, I agree with you.
Let me read a few comments because Norma Staley, Grandma, what's up? She said these generation is different.
Yes.
This is different. No respect. We let them get away with the violence. Everyone is responsible, the family and the community. Absolutely. Gina's asked, hey, Gina, we are talking about violence, as you probably figured out, in America today. Pamela Jones said, yeah, I'm into the old people clubs. Yeah, I'm with you. You and me be doing the bump. No violence at the bump club.
Yeah, I forgot about the bump. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Desi.
No, that was really funny. You threw me off with the bump combo. But yeah, I agree with you, Tanya, in that, well, we got to know that the truth is going to come out no matter how long it takes. But also, we have to start critically looking at everything in society, because so much seems to be engineered and orchestrated. If you look at the anti-Asian crime that was going on, we saw this one guy in the pink hooded sweatshirt. He was in 3 or 4 videos, and then we see the same guy stand with Andrew Yang when he's running for governor. So we got to know that this is all being engineered and orchestrated. So it's good that you brought that up, because we don't know to what degree, but part of the whole conspiracy theory industry is based on critically looking at what's happening. But now I'm gonna get up and start doing the bump.
Well, another thing is, and I always go back to media and holding them responsible. They really play. They don't play a part in the actual crime, but they play a part on what is put on our minds and helping desensitize us by replaying certain things like black men. Or like, as soon as you have a mass shooting, do you ever notice? As soon as a mass shooting is put on television, as soon as it happens, within a few hours or a few days or somehow or another, they will find a black kid in Chicago who shot somebody, or maybe shot a 2-year-old by accident. Like, that'll be the face they'll put up again. It could be 3 mass shootings this week, and they will find something that a black person did and pop that picture up there so that you no longer associated these 30 something.
Not only that, Tanya, but they'll humanize the shooter.
Yes.
They'll show the shooter as a little kid, and how he used to play with toys, and
what about the Chinese one? The Chinese kid that shot the 6-year-old yesterday or day before yesterday. They gave him $10,000 bail, and they showed the thing. People put it on TikTok because they were so infuriated. They put it on TikTok. The judge is like, oh, well, I don't think we should make him have to do such and such. He shot a 6-year-old kid out of his window on purpose, riding his bike on his property, and then so they charged him with attempted murder and gave him $10,000 bail because they didn't want him to have to pay too much. And the parents paid $1,000 to get him out. I forgot how they do with bail, but they paid like $1,000.
10% of whatever the bail amount is. 10% of cash.
Yeah. So she says,
whatever the bail amount is.
Yeah. So she says, just don't, I don't think you should go back to the house right now. Let's, I think you should go somewhere, go live with your father or something. So he's asking, and they're going like, well, I hope you have a good day, and I hope everything works out.
Yeah, we need to recall that judge. And this is a very clear picture of how the judicial system works against us specifically, because it was the black kid that got killed. And I saw a news commentator say this is just par for the course where they minimize the value of Black lives.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, this kid lived though. That's the good news. Is this kid, this 6-year-old on the bike, he lived, and his father's like, what? And some Black activist group, I forgot their name, and they're out of Detroit. I want to say out of Detroit. Yeah. They got together. One of the sisters is like a prosecutor or something, and they got together and put pressure on. So now they're trying to. As of today, he might be back in jail, but they're like, oh no, this is not going down. Not in our neighborhood. And so they actually have an initiative to start going around to I forgot, for 6 weeks they're going around to the high-end shooting places and talking to gang kids and all that and say, we got to stop this, because it kind of motivated them to say, well, we got to stop all the shootings. You know, this guy was a knucklehead too, because he was angry at a kid. Like, who does that? Who does that? But anyway,
that guy, he better hope that he's in prison if he shot my 6-year-old kid riding his bike.
Well,
he should not want to get out of jail.
I'd be leaving the Quakers, is all I can say.
Yeah. All right, let me play this video for Pam. Pam, this is for you.
That chick was a rain ago, and she did a thing, almost broke my head. She wasn't getting down.
That's the Invisible Man video.
Yeah. Wasn't getting down. She wanted to bump some more, but I told her no.
That was the worst bump I ever seen.
That brother had no rhythm.
I know. Pam, I'm sure you and I can do a better job at the bump than that. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt with that fun video. You know, we're Black comics. I figured I'd throw something funny in there.
Well, it was just the point of
that was good.
Yeah, devaluing our lives, and to the point, even though this little kid lived, they still devalue. And if you looked at the judge and you looked at the officer, the guy who in the court, they look like Proud Boy types. If you could tell by their behavior that they down with the Proud Boy type, because they were like, oh yeah, and she said thank you. So I was like, what? Thank you for shooting a little black boy? Is that what you're saying? What are you saying thank you for? Like, why would you say thank you in a video call to someone who just? But this is
that judge got to go, because if we look back at her history, we can pretty much guess that she has dealt out some really harsh sentences on African Americans for whatever crime they did.
Oh, he's back in jail. Yeah. No, it's.
This again is why we have to vote at the local level.
Yes.
This is exactly a good. We have to vote at the local level. We only come out for the president in droves.
Yep.
And we forget how important the local, all the local like judges and sheriffs and all that stuff that we don't think about. You know what I mean? We think we get a black president, all our problems are solved. But that is not the issue. That is not. No. Yeah. I mean, we talk about all the violence and stuff, and we ask what's going on, and I don't think we really put our finger on it. Nope. I mean, we kind of, but I don't know if there's an explanation as to why it keeps escalating. But everything is escalating. Mm-hmm. Like the Kardashians are billionaires.
Yeah.
I mean, that should worry everybody that the Kardashians are billionaires. Why are they billionaires?
Because they promote a certain image that they want promoted.
Right. You know, but the woman with a PhD would get no likes or no nothing, no, you know. But the Kardashians, what does that say about our society?
Yeah. Right. Does that make you angry? But you're not angry enough to go out and shoot somebody, but you're still angry about that.
But it's just showing that where our society is at. You know,
the Kardashians. Well, yeah, look at how they came to fame. Kim Kardashian came to fame off of a sex tape. She had sex with somebody. Someone recorded it. They put it out, and that made her famous.
Yes, and she ate a placenta on TV.
What?
Okay, you heard me. She ate. Her family sat around the table eating a placenta because that is a thing to do. And I was like, okay, I'm done. YouTube that segment. You'll see what I'm talking about. She's eating her placenta. I heard it's good to eat your placenta. Okay, now we're done. You see what I'm saying?
Wait, was that roasted? Was it barbecued? Did they freaking see it?
Was it regular? Like,
hey, if it's gonna make me a billionaire, I'll do it.
No,
Elizabeth Graybill made a statement. She said a lot of parents don't check their kids today because they wind up in jail when they do.
Yep.
The system has even taken our parental rights without asking, and we are okay with that. We can't look at our kids. We can't look at our kids wrong for fear they will call the cops on us because the government made it okay for them to use that against the parents, which is absolutely true. Like, you can't even yell at your parent.
Well, to a degree. To a degree, because my parents told me, go ahead and call the police because you can go with them. You can leave with them.
Yep, that's what
that's back then. I'm sure, Elizabeth, you're talking about today, like in today's, you know what I mean? Today.
Yep.
You know, I was shocked.
Carl, you have 2 kids, and none of I'm sure neither one of them would think twice. If you told them to do X, Y, Z, even if they're over 21, they're going to do it because you've instilled in them, I'm in charge. You're going to do what I say if you want to live.
When my kids were old enough to understand what I was saying, here's what I said to them. And this is exactly what I said. Listen to me. I am not speaking to you 3 or 4 times. If I say, go take a bath, go take a bath. I say, get off that chair, get off that. I'm not going to be one of those parents. Get off the chair, get off the chair, get off the chair, get off the chair. Go take a bath. I'm not doing that.
You can be my daddy.
I said, go take a bath. And I just look at you. Go take a bath. What's the debate here? I said, go take a bath. You know what I mean? Just go.
Yeah.
I established that, and then and I also made the I broke the cycle of beatings. I mean, I'm sure we all can talk about beatings, and that's another show. That's another show in itself.
Yes.
Some people are for beatings.
That's another show.
I chose to break that cycle. I said I'm not hitting kids, and I didn't.
What about
you? Can do stuff. You can do stuff with.
She didn't hit him either.
Go ahead, Dad. No, I was gonna say you could do stuff. So my nephew yesterday, I told him he's 7, about to be 8 next month. I said, put your shoes on and come to the store with me. He's playing Fortnite. His mother lets him play Fortnite. So he goes, I don't want to go. I'm playing a game. I walked in. I unplugged the headset. I took the microphone and I said, put your shoes on and let's go. And his mother was like, what's going on? And I gave her the headset. I go, Mari's coming with me to the store. And she goes, I thought he said he didn't want to go. I told him he was going. See, now that I have to explain to the mother, I told him he's coming with me. You're telling me, well, he said he didn't want to go. See, that's why you're empowering him.
Right.
So he was in my car and with a pouty face while we were driving to the store. Because if I say we're going, we're going. You know, don't sit there and say I'm playing Fortnite. That's why I unplugged all your stuff. I didn't hit him. I didn't threaten him. I just took. You want to play Fortnite? All right, you can play it when we get back from the store. And I took it. See, and then explained to his mother that he's not in charge. Right. He is not in charge.
Yep, Elizabeth said it.
Yep. I something we didn't touch on though, but as far as talking about violence goes, I mean, we see and kids see America. They don't like what's happening in Saudi Arabia. They don't like a person in one of those Middle Eastern countries. What do we do? What do we do? We don't like one guy in that country. What do? We go over there and we bomb the shit out.
We attack someone that looks like them over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we beat on somebody that looks like them over here.
I mean, the American government.
Yes,
American government. They go.
Bullying.
Yeah. So, I mean, it shows that you solve stuff with violence. You know, I mean, we're going to send warplanes to, you know what I mean, wherever. It's always a Middle Eastern country. They haven't sent any warplanes to Switzerland or
Geneva.
Yeah. You know, or Russia, right?
Denmark.
Should we be bombing Russia?
No, they ain't messing with Putin. They not crazy. They know better, and they ain't messing with China either. They talk all that game.
Should we be bombing Russia? Didn't Russia just shut down the gas line, a gas pipeline, and doing all this other hacking shit? Shouldn't we be bombing Russia? You know, but no, we don't.
They know who to play with.
You know, we go bomb the people that throw rocks at us, right?
Crazy.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get into a little critical race theory. I guess that's gonna be for another show because that can take up another hour.
Yes.
So we want to thank everyone. Let me see if there's any comment that I missed. No, I don't know who Soul Rai is, but
we need to roast him real quick.
yeah, but you can't even delete any of his stuff because I don't know if he's a bot or whatever it is.
He's a bot. He's a bot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least.
What do you say?
He's saying
good shit
about Corona, about prostitutes in his country.
Yeah, he did a lot of crazy stuff.
Starving, like just dumb stuff. Like it has nothing to that's how you know it's a bot. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So bot, you need to be gone.
I didn't know.
I am not your father.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Kevin, we got status now. We got.
No, we got.
Trolls.
Oh, bot.
Moving on up.
Yeah.
That means we're doing something right.
Yeah. If we got people trolling us.
Yeah, if we ain't got no trolls, then we ain't doing something right. Yeah. We ain't got no haters. You gotta have haters, man. We ain't got no haters. We doing something right. We got some haters.
That's right. Yeah. You know, haters gotta hate.
That's all right. Let him listen in. Maybe he can learn something.
That's right. He's gonna learn. We'll teach him right.
Yeah. But I mean, before we go, I don't know, but in America, if you stare at someone for too long, they're not gonna think he might know me from somewhere. Like in Barbados, if I'm standing in line and I look at somebody for too long, they're gonna go, "You know me from somewhere?" You know what I mean? And then they'll go, "I don't know, you look familiar, maybe right." That's the way the conversation would go. But here in America, you stare at somebody for too long.
What you looking at?
Right?
What you looking at?
You
Yeah.
know what I say? I say, look at this side. It's better.
Yeah. So I think it's just
you know what? That's a gorilla mentality though. In the wild, if you look at if you're out in your silverback gorilla, if you stare at them, that's considered a threat, and they will attack you.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
So
somebody look at me the other day. Go, "The fuck you looking at?"
You never assume that it's something good they're thinking, right? You never assume somebody's staring at me because
she thought I was T.I.
Oh, I had somebody pranked me today. It was staring at me, but they happened and they knew my godbrother, so they got me good. Oh, they got me
right.
Good.
There was.
Yeah. Oh,
I always think I got spinach in my teeth.
What?
So I always think I got spinach in my teeth. Is that why you're looking at? I got something in my teeth.
Yeah, my mom in heaven, who's in heaven now, used to always tell us, "You're so good looking, people have to stare at you."
Oh, that's what I tell my kids. And they were like, "Why are they staring at me?" Because you're so fine.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Tina Fiore asked why are people so angry these days? Why is it on their sleeve? You know what I mean?
I don't know how to process, Gina. Period. If you don't know how to process, you do present anger, or you shut yourself down and shut yourself out, or you end up hurting yourself, hurting someone else, or just shutting down altogether. One of the three. So sadly, most people don't know how to process a lot of stuff. That's why I say don't watch TV. If you already have issues, don't watch no TV.
Especially the news.
The news will make you. That's what I meant. The news, particularly. You can pick out a show
or Springer, or Maury, or Wilco, or any of those.
It makes you literally can make you want to think like the people that you're trying to say are bad. You know what I'm saying? Like you can actually get bad feelings from watching too many murders and too many, if I see, all black people are being killed by people with, green hair, I'm going to start feeling a certain kind of way about people with green hair unless I check myself, right? And process that, that's just what they're showing. And it's probably like a small segment, but it's not everybody, but most people can't do that. They think everybody with green hair that's killing black people is horrible. And that's not always the case, so.
Well, the Joker has green hair and he would be killing people and he's always bad. So I can't agree with you. I'm sorry.
My favorite show, and I watch this every Friday, especially during the pandemic because I haven't been touring a lot. So usually Fridays I'm in comedy clubs. But during the pandemic, my favorite show is Dateline NBC, which I watch every Friday, which is an episode basically hosted by Lester Holt, but it's murder mystery shows, and it's based on true stories, So Dayline NBC, usually every week somebody gets killed, and usually a husband kills his wife for the insurance money, or vice versa, something stupid, But it's always white people. Just about like 99% of the cases are white, and these are based on true stories, you know. So and it's Caucasian families that's usually killing. You know, the husband got an affair going on. He don't want to get a divorce because he got to give his wife half, so he decides to poison her with arsenic instead of getting a divorce. But he gets caught, they end up in jail. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, but so my point is, you watch these shows every week. It never made me want to kill anybody. You know, I don't think we know about taking somebody out because I watch murder shows. Is what I was getting at. You know?
No.
And do you go to Google to find out the end of the case while the show's on? Because I can't take the suspense.
No, I never do that. I like the suspense, man. I like the suspense. I must have been a detective in my former life or something. I like it. You know what I can't watch though? I can't watch the first 48. You know, shows. Like
I love the first 48. You kidding me?
I can't watch that because it's African Americans.
Oh,
basically, it's the same as Dateline NBC. It's just African Americans killing each other. And
that's true.
So that kind of puts a different spin on it for me. So it's guilty pleasure television, but you know, you're watching people's, you know, pain and suffering. But I can't watch first 48.
Well, you know another thing. I know we got to go, but I forgot one other thing. When we talk about all the gang shootings, right, and all the kids that's been going on, like the massive amount of shootings, you know what? No one's mentioned nothing about when the mobs was doing those cleaning up and claiming territory. All the hits that were done in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and still are. You know what I'm saying? Nobody talks about that as the worst thing. Like, oh my God, I can't believe there was a time where like all the families was fighting viciously, and no one ever talks about it in relation to. Okay, but I'm just saying. You see where I'm going with this? Like, I'm like,
right?
Double standard.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. It's neither right. I'm just saying. Yeah,
it's one of my biggest arguments, Tanya, with people on Facebook when they bring up Chicago and Baltimore and all this stuff. I always tell people, you know, when I argue with white people on Facebook, and the first thing they do is they talk about Chicago. The first thing I do is I bring that up, that, you know, the Italian, and Irish, and Jewish mafia,
all of them,
the freaking 40s up until the late 80s. You know, organized crime was the most violent thing in the freaking country. You know, I mean, you know, they glorify it with movies. You know, the Goodfellas, the Untouchables, and all that stuff. It's now Hollywood has glorified it, you know, and Scarface and all this stuff. Scarface wasn't based on true story, but you know what I'm saying. But they glorify it into these movies to make them heroes. You know, you see people walk around all the time. I live in New York. On any given day, I see people walk around with Scarface on their shirt, or they walk around with John Gotti on their shirt.
Everybody loved that man.
I mean, John Gotti was a freaking criminal and a murderer, but see, that's the difference, though. Tanya, a white guy can walk around with a John Gotti shirt on, or an Al Capone shirt on, and nobody says anything.
Yep.
You know, I can't even go out the house with O.J. Simpson jersey on without getting in a fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
I think I'm gonna give me a Bumpy Johnson T-shirt. I'm gonna get myself a Bumpy Johnson T-shirt.
I won't get one of those because I believe people like him is the reason why my mother ended up on drugs and I ended up in foster care. So I would never get one of those. But I get your point.
Bumpy Johnson. You know what I'm saying? They're criminal. They glorify their criminals to a point where they make them, you know, cult figures and stuff like that, and heroes and stuff like that. We don't have that luxury. Not that we should glorify our criminals anyway. I'm just saying that's what they do, man. They turn their criminals into, you know, heroes. There was a restaurant. There's a restaurant performing in Fort Myers, Florida. 4 months ago? There's a restaurant there, a pizza restaurant called Capone's.
Yep.
And there, you know, on the front of the pizza box, I walked in the place just to check it out. It was packed, and there's pictures of Al Capone on the wall everywhere. The box of pizza has Al Capone on it. The name of the place on it, I was at Capone's. Yeah. I was like, y'all, you know, I think y'all do realize this guy was a cold-blooded murderer, right? You know.
I mean, chopping people up in bags. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but there it is, Capone's Pizza, and it's a nice place. It wasn't no rundown place. It was a freaking upscale pizza place, man. So there you have it, man. That's why we're where we at, Carl. That's why our society, like I live and die by this, man. as we wrap this show up, we've always been this way. Al Capone days, you talk about the guys in Chicago now, but you don't talk about Al Capone and all the stuff that went on in Chicago. All these police forces have been crooked. Chicago police force,
are you
LA
kidding?
police force has been crooked. LA police force is so crooked that's why NWA became rappers. And now those guys, the ones that are living just about, or a few of them anyway, out of that group of billionaires now, they were meant to be dead and in jail probably, but they ended up being billionaires, close to it, Dre and Cube anyway. So Ice-T was a Crip, I think. So he's doing pretty well for himself. So rap saved some of these guys' lives, actually, Can you imagine where those three guys would be if it wasn't for rap music?
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, and I guess we can say also racist America gave a lot of black people careers, you know what I mean? Because the fact that it's so racist, you know what I mean?
Right. Look at Floyd Mayweather just made $50 million because he an exhibition fight against somebody white because he knows that America will pay to see him lose.
Yep.
And they'll pay dearly. He made $50 million.
That's why McGregor.
He said that? Or maybe I said that, or you're just
he said it. It's easy money.
Yeah, he said that.
He said he knew America would want to see a white dude beat his
and he's right. He's right.
But that's the same thing Ali used to say, because Ali knew that they could not stand having a black champion. They could not
outspoken
back to when they had Johnson was champion. They can't stand having a black champion. Like the heavyweight championship of the world is supposed to be a white position, and when a black man has it, they can't stand it.
Yeah, he made $100 million, not $50 million.
Pamela Jones is killing me. There's a restaurant in my neighborhood called Bang Bang. I refuse to eat there. Drive-by shooters are a problem in my neighborhood. The whole Bang Bang.
Where you going, Bang Bangs?
She need to move.
No, she's confused because there was a whole bar restaurant. It was about Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And that's what they were named after. And she goes in to see the flying car in there, and then she can be relaxed.
Just get a bulletproof vest. Just get a bulletproof vest. That's all.
I love Chitty.
So I guess we're gonna have to get some people to monitor the chats.
Yeah,
and start kicking people out.
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Carl's the only one that can kick them out. That side guy.
When I hover over it, usually there's 3 dots, and I click on it, and it says delete. But I can't. Whoever it is, whether they have,
he's a bot.
Yeah, so I can't delete him. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna go preach, Desi, Kevin, and then Tanya, and your thoughts on today's show, and if there's anything we can ever do to curb this violence, or do we just need to accept it and roll with it, and do our best to stay out of violence way? I mean, what are your thoughts, Preach?
I go back to what Kevin was talking about earlier with what's going on, which came out in 1971. That's 50 years ago, and we're dealing with the same issues now. And I saw on the news this week, they talked about America's declining water system. Okay, they say a water main breaks every 2 minutes. You know why? Because they never fixed it when it was a small problem. And that's what the violence. The parents didn't, intervene while it was a small problem. And the problem just continues to grow and grow and grow. So somebody has to start stepping up. Is it an easy fix? No, it's not going to be. But it's got to start, and it's going to be a long road ahead.
So the kid rolling on the floor at the supermarket, throwing a temper tantrum, those are the kids we got to watch. The kid rolling. You ever seen that? The kid's rolling on the floor, and the mom just standing there looking at him?
You know what I do when I get them up?
Supposed to walk away.
I used to go over and be like, McDonald's.
Yeah.
Works all the time.
Yeah, go ahead, Desi.
Sorry.
The thing I'll wrap it up real quick by just saying that we haven't realized violence. I mean, it almost feels like human nature is violent, but we have to come up with a solution. When I was young, I went to a really violent, a rough high school, and you had to be tough. You had to be willing to defend yourself. If you were willing to defend yourself, you rarely had to deal with much violence. It was the ones who allowed themselves to be pushed around that always seem to get pushed around. So I think as a society, we have to group together and call out violence and call out any aggression that will hurt people, and take it from there.
Yes.
All right. Kevin?
Today, ironically, on our show is the 5-year anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting.
Oh yeah, 49 people were killed.
49 people were killed on this day 5 years ago. So nothing's changed. 5 years ago, 49 people were gunned down in their club having fun. And since then,
we had a shooting today or yesterday in Texas.
Yeah, since then, how many mass shootings have we had since then? 5 years ago, 5 years later, the number of mass shootings we have had in this country have been staggering. So our government doesn't care, our politicians don't care, and as long as the politicians are able to continue to live like rock stars and live in gated communities, and in most cases, don't have to deal with it, because Democrats and Republicans, I don't care who it is, Nancy Pelosi, who's worth millions of dollars, and all the other ones worth millions of dollars on the other side. 9 out of 10, their kids, go to private schools and they got to deal with it and live in gated communities, and they live in a different world. So they're not doing anything to help everyday normal Americans who have to go to shopping centers, go to movie theaters, and go out into the world. And we're all sitting ducks, man. We're all sitting ducks, unfortunately. And nobody's doing anything to change it, bro. So we got a big problem, in America, and it's only getting worse in my eyes. Watching the news is like, I got a choice. Do I want to watch an action movie on Netflix, or I want to watch 11 o'clock news? They both the same.
They both the same. I think there's more killings on the news.
Exactly. The more I turn on 11 o'clock news at night, nonstop for the first 10 or 15 minutes is what happened in Jersey and New York as far as shootings. So there it is, man. That's what we have.
Coming to R rating, man.
We're pretty bad, man. We're in a bad spot, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Before I get to you, Tanya, Pamela Jones said, "No, seriously, I think the name of the restaurant minimizes the gun violence in the neighborhood." Absolutely. What was the pizza or the restaurant there before the shooting started, or was the restaurant there after the shooting start? Just curious, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing funny about gun violence. And if the person that owned that restaurant named it Bang Bang because there's lots of shootings in that neighborhood, they're an idiot, And somebody should go by and shoot 2 bullets through that window every day. That's the name of the restaurant. Bang Bang. Okay. Go ahead, Tanya.
I just want to say what I always say, parents. This is my plea. So if you have children, if you're going to have children, please be there for them. Give them the love and the attention that they need, and teach them that they are a part of a big world. Hence no feeling like you're privileged. So if we got those things in place, I think we'd start seeing big changes. You can go to other countries and find great examples of that, where people are not running around just shooting people left and right. Like I think Sweden, there's a few places I've seen. Some parts of I've seen quite a few places like Morocco. Some places, depending on where you go, there's tons of places.
A lot of countries are constantly would carry guns, and the violence is not as
Yeah. Well, first of all, America's the only country where you're allowed to just walk into a Walmart and just pick up a gun, or that says, "Hey, if you take the vaccine, we'll give you a gun." It's like, what? Huh? What? So, I mean, this is like we contradict ourselves all the time on that one. But I really think the core of everything is if you start, I used to call it pre-atrocity conversation in comedy, but I'll say this pre-baby conversations. If you start when they're young, you probably, not always, because there could be trauma in the womb. And if you have trauma in the womb, that can turn into something else without you even knowing that it even happened. So I believe that. So that's fine. But if you start with the premise that, okay, I have this baby, I have to be responsible, and you're teaching values and love and caring, and you're really being a gentle, kind person, it's kind of hard to get a shooter with kind parents and with kind backgrounds. Some people say that's not true. John Wayne Gacy was all American. That's what they said on the profilers. I was like, really? All American, like what? Hacking up women? I mean, what? That's all American with apple pie because he had apple pie? Is that what made it American? What? No, there is no such thing. I do not believe that John Wayne Gacy, Charles Manson, Oklahoma bomber, Kyle Rittenhouse, I do not believe that any of them had the appropriate love that they needed and family that they needed when they, before they committed this, way before they committed their crimes or atrocities, way before that. Something went wrong and disconnected. And I strongly believe you've got to have family. Grandmas, you got to be there. Grandpas, you got to be there. Uncles, step up your game. Step up your game. Step it up. Because that's really what's going on, especially with the young kids who are joining gangs. Why do you think anybody want to join a gang? Not just to get a pair of sneakers. That's the outside part. I'm gonna get attention that I need and want as a human being. You know what I'm saying? We're human, we're packs by nature. We need love. We need to know that we matter. We need that. Everybody needs that. And they lying if they say they don't. So don't expect a kid who has no family, no love, no job, no way of getting nothing to say, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to be a right model citizen and just make my way. It happens, but it's probably less likely to happen. So love, 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 and family, 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 family. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Tanya. And don't curse your kids out. You ever heard parents that curse their kids out?
That's horrible.
Right? Don't curse your kids out. Donna Hagen says, hurt people.
Yes.
So, yes.
That's it.
So I guess that's why Gerald wants to punch me in the face. I want to thank everyone for watching the show. Thank you so much. Remember to watch us on YouTube, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and tell all your friends, tell all your family about our show. Please pick up Playing with Fire by Mr. Kevin Lee. You can get it on Amazon.
I'm a violent bastard. The most violent comedian in comedy.
Playing with Fire by Kevin Lee.
Thank you. Support Black business.
Amazon.
That's right.
Black business. Bye, Black.
Also, Gina Fiore, My Italian Therapy. Gina, I'm going to get the book. I was actually looking at it yesterday. I'm going to
Italian too.
My Italian Therapy on Amazon.
Yes.
Gina fought and kicked cancer's ass 20 plus years ago.
That's right.
Herbs and special Italian therapy. So please pick it up. Gina, we love you. Gina was with us from day one. Gina became a fan of mine when I said, Gina said when I said, good morning, white people, how you doing? So that was one of my Facebook posts. Good morning, white people. What's going? Something to that effect. And she was just
white people.
She wanted who's this guy? And said, good morning, white people.
Who are you?
Gina thought it was funny, but a lot of white people did not think it was funny.
I'm sure they didn't.
That shit's hilarious.
That's not back with, yeah, what's up, black people? Hey, we're fine. We're cool. Gina said the book talks about getting your heart right. There you go. So My Italian Therapy talks about getting your heart right. It worked for Gina. I'm sure it'll work for anyone else. So thanks everyone. Let me thank Donna. Thank you for your comments. Glendine Carter, Gina, as always, Grandma Staley, a few more people in here. Anthony Wilder, Pamela Jones. Pam, you're trying to take our job. You were very funny today.
Yes.
Elizabeth Graybill. That's your peeps, Tanya.
Yeah. Yep. She's got a great book out too.
Really? What's the name of her book?
Oh my gosh, really? Put it in the chat, Elizabeth. Totally blank.
I'll put you on the spot.
Well, she mentioned
Unbreakable Me. Unbreakable Me.
Unbreakable Me.
Elizabeth Graybill, Amazon. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Unbreakable.
Senior moment.
Yeah.
Senior moment.
Thank you to everyone for watching the show, and we will see you next week on 5 Black Comics.
Yes.
Yes.
Next week, show's gonna be fire.
gonna be on fire. We're out.